All right, picture this. You're sitting in your room, scrolling through Star Wars clips, vibing with lightsabers, Jedi flipping around like gymnasts, Sith doing their whole I'm mad at life monologues, and suddenly, boom, a guy in shiny Beskar walks in, doesn't talk much, fights like a beast, and has the coolest theme music you've ever heard. That, my friend, is a Mandalorian. And their history? Oh ho. It's not just deep, it's deep, spicy, chaotic, heartbreaking, and absolutely legendary. So let's dive into the full saga of Mandalore, from ancient warriors to modern outcasts. In a way, even your non-Star Wars friends would say, bro, that was kind of fire. Let's rewind thousands of years. I'm talking so far back that even Yoda would be like, bro, I wasn't born yet. Around 7,000 BBY, the galaxy saw the rise of the Taung, the original Mandalorians. These guys were built like final bosses. Hard helmets, harder attitudes. Their leader, Mandalore I, basically said, this planet, mine now. And everyone else politely agreed, because nobody wanted smoke with him. They built a culture where fighting wasn't just something you did, it was literally your identity. Like, imagine if gym culture, biker culture, and samurai culture had a baby. That's early Mandalore. But here's the cool thing. It wasn't all brute force. Mandalorians had a philosophy, a whole lifestyle blueprint called the Resol'nare. 6 rules every true Mandalorian lived by. Wear your armor with pride. Speak Mandola. Protect your family, because clan is greater than everything. Raise your kids as Mandalorians. Contribute to your people. And when the Mandalore, the big boss, calls you to battle, you go. No excuses, no bro, I'm busy. When the horn blows, you show up. And honestly, there's something kind of beautiful in that. Family as a choice, loyalty as a code, strength as a responsibility. It's metal, but also meaningful. Now, if there's one thing Star Wars loves, it's drama. So obviously, the mid eventually ran into the Jedi, the space monks with glow sticks. And these two groups, polar opposites. Jedi, peace, calm, balance. Mandalorians, violence is growth. So naturally, they threw hands. Big hands. Galaxy-shaking hands. These wars weren't normal wars. The Mandalorians literally evolved their technology just to counter Jedi abilities. Jedi could block blasters. Mandalorians made tech that overwhelmed them. Jedi had lightsabers. Mandalorians developed Beskar, the I don't care about your laser sword metal. Every fight made both sides stronger, but Mandalore paid the price. Their planet ended up scorched, barren, wrecked so hard that people had to live inside giant domes just to breathe. Like post-apocalyptic, but still aesthetic vibes. And you'd think after fighting the Jedi, the Mandalorians would chill. Nope, they turned around and fought themselves. Classic Mandalorian behavior. Around 41 to 39 BBY, Mandalore split in two. On one side, the new Mandalorians, the peaceful group led by Duchess Satine. She believed Mandalore needed healing, not more war. On the other side, the warrior traditionalists who basically said, nah bro, fighting is our love language. The result? A civil war that tore the planet apart. Cities burned, families fractured, even Satine's father was killed. When the dust settled, the pacifists won. But instead of reconciling, they exiled the warrior clans to Concordia. And, exiling the angry warrior faction? Not the smartest decision. Because on Concordia, the exiles became Death Watch, the We're Bringing Violence Back club. Led by Vizsla, these guys were ready to do terrorism for tradition. Bombings, assassinations, propaganda, all the fun stuff society absolutely does not need. And then, because chaos attracts chaos, Darth Maul enters the chat. Yup, Hornhead himself. Double lightsaber, the whole package. Death Watch teamed up with him. They took over Mandalore, and then, plot twist, Maul beat Vizsla in combat and took the Darksaber, which, by Mandalorian rules, made him the boss. A non-Mandalorian Sith became Mandalore. Imagine the group chat that night. But let's talk about that Darksaber for a second. It isn't just a weapon, it's a symbol. A crown disguised as a blade, forged by Tarre Vizsla, the first Mandalorian Jedi. Which already sounds like the coolest character pitch ever. After he died, the Jedi kept it locked in their vault, but House Vizsla stole it back. And ever since, the rule has been simple. To claim it, you win it in combat. No shortcuts, no hand-me-downs. If you didn't fight for it, your leadership is invalid, period. And that one tradition shaped Mandalorian history more than any war. Meanwhile, Mandalore under Satine is trying its absolute best to stay neutral in the Clone Wars. Girl just wants peace. But nope. Death Watch keeps causing chaos. Maul takes over. The Republic tries to intervene. Assassination attempts are flying around like mosquitoes. Mandalore during this era is basically that group project where one person wants to do everything right, and everyone else is fist-fighting in the corner. Eventually, Maul kills Satine, right in front of Obi-Wan, who absolutely did not need that trauma added to his life. Her sister, Bo-Katan, finally steps up. She rejects Maul's rule and starts building the resistance. She knew Mandalore needed strength, leadership, and maybe a little therapy. But none of that chaos. None of it compared to what came next. The Empire didn't just want control, they wanted Mandalore gone, and so came the Great Purge, the infamous Night of 1,000 Tears. If there was ever a moment that shattered the Mandalorian spirit, it was this. TIE bombers carpet-bombed cities until the ground literally turned to glass. KX security droids hunted survivors like it was some nightmare video game. Entire armies were erased. Entire families wiped out. Mandalorians, once feared across the galaxy, were suddenly reduced to scattered refugees, hiding in shadows, clinging to whatever pieces of their culture survived. But even after genocide, the Mandalorians did what they always do. They adapted. They rebuilt in exile. Among the survivors emerged the Children of the Watch, devout traditionalists following the ancient creed to the letter. No removing helmets in front of others. Foundlings are sacred. The creed is everything. Leading them was the armorer, part religious leader, part blacksmith, part Mandalorian therapist. She forged Beskar armor, taught the old ways, and kept hope alive in the darkness. And then, Djarin enters the story, a foundling raised by the Watch, trying to juggle tradition with reality. His journey is such a beautifully written metaphor for the modern Mandalorian experience. He wins the Darksaber without wanting it. He removes his helmet for someone he loves. He bonds with a child who changes everything. He wrestles between identity and responsibility, between creed and compassion. Through him, we see the true heart of Mandalore, a culture trying to survive by choosing what parts of the past to keep and what parts to finally let go. Bo-Katan, meanwhile, represents political evolution. She's lived through every era: Death Watch, rebellion, imperial occupation, modern reunification. She understands the weight of tradition, but also the need for progress. Her goal isn't just power, it's unity. Getting Mandalorian clans to stop arguing long enough to rebuild? That's harder than defeating the Empire. And beyond all the wars, betrayals, and heartbreak, Mandalorian culture holds something incredible at its core. Adoption isn't just allowed, it's celebrated. Family isn't blood, it's chosen. Armor isn't just protection, it's identity, history, pride, their language, their clans, their rituals. All of it survived, even when their planet didn't. That's why Mandalore matters. It's proof that a culture can live on through its people, not its land. Across the timeline, from Taung warriors to crusaders to pacifists to rebels to refugees to reclaimers, the Mandalorians have never stopped evolving, never stopped fighting, never stopped rebuilding. And even with all their flaws, contradictions, and chaotic choices, they remain one of the most iconic cultures in the entire Star Wars galaxy. Because in the end, Mandalore isn't geography. It's a creed, a choice, a way of life passed from warriors to foundlings, from leaders to loners, from clan to clan, across centuries. And that's why their most famous phrase hits differently. It's not just the slogan, it's a legacy. This is the way.